think we are live.
All right.
All right. GM,
Sweet.
GM, guys.
Good morning, or good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are. And as I think as Bill O'Reilly once said, "We'll do it live." I think he had another filler word somewhere in there. But
Yeah.
cool. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to today's Fireside Hang. It's great to see many of you joining us here. So come on in. And it's also nice to see that y'all are verifying your existence without revealing any sensitive personal data. So awesome. So feel free to throughout this Fireside Hang, we'll probably have time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, comments, etc., populate them away. But anyways, we're gathered here to talk about Midnight. In particular, we're going to be talking about the Midnight Academy. So that's the first thing on the agenda. And the second thing on the agenda today is we're going to talk, I'm going to give some testnet updates and what's to come. Most of it pertains to Midnight validators on the testnet. So if you're a Midnight validator on testnet currently, or would be, you definitely want to listen to that part. And without further ado, I like to give it to Idris, who's been working hard on the Midnight Academy. So if you saw on Midnight Twitter and other announcements, the Midnight Academy is live now. Just announced it. So I'll give it to Idris to do the favor of introducing this new thing to us.
Yes, thank you so much. And also thank you all for joining. It's really interesting and also exciting at the same time to have you all here today. And also everyone listening from where you are joining from. So if you haven't heard about the Midnight Academy, if you have been here for a very long time with the Midnight ecosystem, we had one initially on the docs. And then due to feedbacks and a lot more improvement that we think, we want to tailor the experience in such a way that you can have a curriculum-based approach to learn, and at the same time being able to track while you're learning, and then finally get certifications to just like reward the learning process. So for every module you complete, you then have certification for that particular module. And of course, we have some really other interesting things like the Zilli integration with the Midnight Academy. So what it means that whenever you finish a module, the next thing you might want to do is you see a call to action that asks you to include that particular link with your certification as a tax on Zilli. So it makes the whole experience easy for you. And then you get to claim points directly on Zilli after completing each module. So I'll be sharing my screen now. I know if you scan this code, you are going to see the same thing, or you must have seen it from our official handle. Yes, I can see somebody said I already get my first certification. Ooh, that's good. That's really interesting. That's really exciting. I think also I saw somebody's post on Twitter, now called X, and the person said he already earned both certificates. I'm like, wait, what? Like, when did you started learning? But it shows the whole commitment, and it's not going to end there. We have a lot more module coming up soon, and we also be having like individual courses. So what do I mean by individual courses? Yeah, we've gotten a lot of feedback from interacting with the developer ecosystem to understand what are some of the things that you need beyond what we currently have. So we have example repo, we have counter repo, we have bboard. We have these things that could easily get you started. But of course, some of us already moved past those stages, and some of us are kind of looking at what exactly can I learn, or can I see how it is implemented and use that approach to build my own application. And what that means is that we need to continue to provide you resource to make that easy, and not just easy, but also making you successful. So that's one of the things that is being put into process and also into thought when we were rebuilding the whole academy um, site, which means that you have individual courses on, let's say you want to learn about the midnight, maybe in the midnight wallet or lace wallet or midnight SDK, for example, would have a standalone course for midnight SDK. And what that means is that the course will just have maybe 5 to 6, depending on the approach that we think would make the most out of the whole experience for you. Then with that approach, what we would do is you will learn everything about Midnight JS within that particular course. So apart from the journey from taking you from zero, which is if you are new to fundamentals, blockchain and all of that, and then learning about ZK, and then transitioning into building your first Hello World application on midnight. Then we then take it further by you learning about individual modules pertaining things that you need to do to upskill to get even more acquainted in the midnight ecosystem. So that's for like, that's just an example of midnight JS, some of the things that's coming up. Let's say you're also a validator or you're an SPO and you also want to like set up your infra. We have a very good resource today on YouTube. But if you might have probably missed it, or because I know Steph did that video a while ago, and we've gotten a lot of really, really good feedback from the video itself. But then we also plan to have like a standalone course on the academic content that also digs into some of the challenges, errors, and documenting the process for you. And what that means is that even if you want to set up your environment, all you just need to do is just take that course, learn how it's done, and that's how you know how to do it. So I will continue to like update it in case anything changes or anything breaks rather. So now, if you look at it, it's very simple, direct. It's pretty much like telling you your path to building your first privacy application. And it's structured in a way that it could take you from 0 to 1. Like I mentioned, you have, the foundation part of it, which is like the blockchain ecosystem. And then you have the zero knowledge and privacy foundation that you learn. And then we then talk about like the hands-on smart contract development with compact programming language. And then finally, you learn how to build full stack application, right? So full stack application here combines both the contract side and then the backend. I'm sorry, and the contract, which is your contract side. You could also have backend in case you have any custom implementation. And then for front end, you have your front end application that you then connect to it. So all of these things showcases like what exactly you can learn and build with Midnight today. So like I already mentioned here, we have structured learning parts. What you have today on the platform shows you like the foundation and then the intermediate. There's a last part that is coming as soon, very, very soon, which is going to show you like the advanced module. And that would complete the structured learning part for that particular, 0 to 1 action that we have on the academy. So then we then would have like deep technical learning into JavaScript, what you can do on the front end and set up everything, and some contract development. We'll also talk about some security best practices. And also, if you don't just want to get into technical parts from day one, then you can would have something around zero knowledge proofs that just paints the picture on what exactly is zero knowledge proof, how did the whole idea of zero knowledge proof started, the type of zero knowledge proofs that we have, what is the current option or like the pattern or the implementation that Midnight currently uses. So you learn these things from the angle of getting you up to speed. And then after that, you can then go into taking some of these independent courses. So this landing page contains more details. But one thing I also want to point out here is that we have the midnight docs. So I will always refer to the docs every day, right? Should in case you learn anything and you're still unsure, you can go directly to the docs, takes you to the docs. If you are curious about some things, you can do AI search and search for, things that you have, ask questions. Kappa is knowledgeable to give you things based on what is currently happening and up-to-date information. And you can search things. You can also do organic search. You don't have to use Kappa. You can just do organic search here and then search for things on the docs. Docs would always be helpful. And then we have the developer forum. If you haven't seen this before, this is where a lot of things happen. If you have like technical questions, you can see we have a lot of technical questions here. We monitor these. You get response. You also get response from our elite fellows, and you get like answer to any of your query. And of course, our Discord server where we have a lot of things. And if you need this, so many other resources here, FAQ and things that you could check out. So if you look at the learning, if you sign up and then you look at the learning process, you see like a brief overview on what you can learn. So in this page, you can see the syllabus here. It's guided into different phases. So this is phase one, which is the blockchain fundamentals that I mentioned earlier on. And then this is phase two, which builds on what phase one looks like. Phase one teaches that the core concept of blockchain, the technical foundation that you need to know, or fundamentals, and then the third part of it teaches you smart contract, the whole idea of smart contract, why smart contract exists. It also kind of deep into some of the historical moments on how everything started and where we are today. Now, if you look at the other, and then you have quizzes at the end of every module to test your knowledge. And then if you look at the phase two, we have the zero knowledge side of things. So the experience here is that now you understand the blockchain fundamental, but then you want to know why zero knowledge proves or zero knowledge entirely exists. So you can go through the zero knowledge mastery. We have the midnight architecture where we talk about the midnight ecosystem and how midnight itself is built. And then we also have the token ecosystem where you could learn about the token implementation that we have today. We have Night as a token, we have DOS as the resource where you can, learn the differences and some of the things you should keep up to date with. So this is just phase one and two, but it doesn't end there. The other phase, which is part of this module, would be the advanced phase where you have like practical implementation done. And then one good part is that you earn certificate at every phase that you finish. You also earn points. So when you are going through the academy, let me show you one quick example. So I already started this. I have this, and then I can click continue. So when you click continue, when you are going through this process of learning, you learn, you read about it, you have like pictorial view of what these things looks like, and then you answer question. So when you answer question and you click on check answer, it takes you to the next question. You can see the quizzes here. You can also see the modules here. In case you want to navigate to a different section, you can navigate directly. But obviously, I have not done this session right here, so that's why I can't click. That's why you're seeing this. So once you unlock this phase, then you'll be able to, answer questions here. The other side is we have the coin side of things. That coin, what it does is that it helps you. Let me go back. This coin here. So should in case you don't have like let's say you try to answer a question. Let me give you an example. Maybe I would find one. Let me go through like a section I've not answered. Okay, it's loading. So when you go to a new session, probably a so this unit rather it's called unit here. So if you go to this unit, I don't know, is this loading? Okay, yeah, perfect. So if we go to this part, you can see I've answered all these ones. That's why it's highlighting, all of these things. But you would see a coin here if you haven't like answered the session. That other coin means is that as you answer more questions, you rack up more coins, and that coin help you. Those coins now help you to unlock answers. Let's say you've tried everything, you still don't get it. Like you've read everything and you think you understood it, but you selected like one or two options, and you failed it, and you want to understand like what exactly are you missing. So you can use that coin to get a hint of what the answer looks like. So you might notice that coin, that's exactly what it serves, the purpose itself. So you are also not left hanging if you don't feel stuck, because we don't want you to do any guesswork. We have some single choice option, we have multi-choice options throughout the module. So we don't want you to get stuck at any point in time. So that is why we give you that option to use Go. And big shout out to HackQuest for building this amazing platform and making it possible for us to integrate. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it about the academy. A lot more coming up in the next few weeks. You will be seeing it. So one thing that we will make sure we do is that we would always update whenever we have new releases, new course, new modules, new unit, or new phase. We roll it out on all our socials. We roll it out everywhere, so you know. And also, if you already sign up, we'll kind of send you like notification via your email whenever we open up any new course or any unit. So I don't know if you have any question. I think yeah, there's one lesson I tried. Okay, someone is saying the tool for like the coin tool is very, very useful. Yeah, we thought about the process of, you know, you think you know the answer, and at the end of the day you miss like twice. In your case, you miss three times, which is also understandable. You can just utilize that coin, and that would help unlock like it give you hints to the answer. And I think there's also something native here. I don't know how this works, but you could also experiment should in case you want to like they have AI embedded into this platform. If you still need something to summarize for you to explain better, then you can also get hints here directly without having to use your coin. Right. So I don't know. Is there any question? Okay, somebody's asking when will the advanced module be available? That's the phase 3. Yeah, to be available very soon, and it's going to be communicated via email. Since you already signed up, we'll communicate via email. We'll also roll it out on our social. And yeah. Okay, thank you, Santi. Yes, it's now live and we are not stopping. The job is not finished yet. We'll keep pushing. There's a lot more. In fact, you all are not ready for what is coming. There's a lot from our partners. There's a lot from our tooling ecosystem that is going to come. So that would make life a lot more easier for anybody. Okay, yeah, there is one more question around like it said mint soon. Yeah, minting is coming soon. So what minting does is that if you get just make sure that you complete your course, you get certification, and then what that means is it's going to when minting is live, you should be able to mint that certification on chain. Right. Just a version. There's an NFT, very beautiful looking NFT that is, ready um waiting for the mainnet patiently. So once mainnet is live, you'll be able to mint the NFT on chain, and then you have, the reward for that on chain. But for now, the certification is ready and good to go. Just make sure you have the certification. Also, make sure after you complete the module, you also finish the task on Zilly because that gives you points and a lot more, like more points for your contribution. So sorry for your learning or for obviously for contribution because after learning you also contribute to the midnight ecosystem. Yeah, thank you all for the big shout out, and we really appreciate the support from since we announced it. A few of you have already finished the course, waiting for more, and that gives us more energy to push out some of this content as soon as possible. We really appreciate that. The last part I wanted to quickly brush on before we move on to before I give it back to Steph is we have, I don't know, we've mentioned this before, but should in case what is coming is would have an exercise directly on this platform where you have an ID integrated directly in this interface, such a way that you can write compact code, you can compile directly on the browser. So that does help you to also experiment directly on this platform, right? So that is coming soon. So the other part that you might also find challenging that we've also like think through is, let's say you want to build yourself or you started building and you run into error or any error at all. We have the Midnight MCP server, and we know everybody nowadays we do have like our own internal workflow, right? that we use. So you can just plug and play this MCP by configuring it directly to your cloud desktop or your Cursor or your Windsurf or any of these clients that you are doing. And the interesting part is once you plug this in into your workflow, you are again gives you like good results, no hallucination from the client, from any of your clients, any of your Claude. So I'm referring to client as Claude here, Claude or Windsurf or Copilot or Cursor. So once you plug it in, then you can learn more about Midnight. While you can also during debugging phase, if you are building anything, you run into any issue, you can utilize this. Another cool thing is that which we just shipped recently is it gives you we now have real compact compilation. So what that means is that whenever you ask AI about a problem and it wants to give you like an example to how to solve that problem or an example contract, the AI itself, the client itself tests the contract before giving it to you. So the he writes it, he tests it. If it doesn't compile, he goes back and fixes it and give you a contract that compiles. Obviously, you have other things to think about, like the functionality, if it's as intended, the functionality is as intended, and also every other thing that you might need to include during that process. So, when it compiles the code compiles, but for you to also test the functionality if it aligns with whatever you have in mind when writing the code. So that's also one cool thing that this helps you to achieve like easily. So making it easy for you to write compact and making it seamless in case you already have like previous programming language experience from Solidity to TypeScript to JavaScript to Python. You can 100% rely on creating a curriculum yourself to learn compact using this MCP because it's going to guide you through the basic to the advanced that you need to know. Yeah, I just wanted to, touch on that before I pass the mic. I don't know if you have any question, but if not, I think you have the floor, Steph.
All right, thank you, Idris. And again, if you want to you want to definitely go to the Midnight Academy, get started as those new modules come out too. You'll be able to complete them and track your progress. So I don't really have any slides for the next stuff, but I do want to immediately make a call to action for Midnight, the current Midnight validator. So there's like almost 200 SPOs helping secure the current testnet. So I want to ask you all to please complete this feedback form. I'll announce it in Discord, etc. But we want to collect some feedback from you all. So you tell what's your experience, what's your ideal tools, and anything else you'd like to share. So please complete that feedback survey. It'll give us insights to make the experience better. Another thing is Testnet 02 is still en route to be sunset in Q1. I believe there are some dates about February 9th or 12th. Just know it's Q1. The testnet will be sunset. Now, a lot of people were developing and validators were also on the testnet. So an important thing for more particular to validators, because we're going to have previews in the midst of rolling out. Some people have the endpoints already, so they're using it. And then pre-prods also coming underway. And of course, those are dependencies for when the mainnet comes out. As far as dates, I can't really talk too much about dates, but things are moving along. However, in order to meet the milestones, SPOs will not be expected to move from testnet to preview. I know there's been some communication previously where we even had that on Fireside Hangs many weeks ago, showing a diagram of where SPOs would go to. They'll go to midnight preview, but that's no longer the case. And the reason why that is because the core engineering team needs to, in order to meet the milestones in a more timely manner, we need to be able to, they need to be able to quickly iterate on the preview chain. So that gives more rapid testing, rapid deployments. And preview will be available for people to build on, but as far as validators, there's going to be more announcements where validators will be able to participate. But just know that testnet will be sunset. Testnet validators will not be expected or required to move to midnight preview. Now, as far as the environment roadmap in general, at the end of the day, we're going to have midnight preview, midnight pre-prod. As I said, this is more of kind of like an end scenario. The end game is you're going to have midnight preview, midnight pre-prod, and midnight mainnet, similar to how you would have Cardano preview, Cardano pre-prod, and Cardano mainnet. Now, many of you already know what this stuff means, but midnight's a partner chain, so midnight preview be a partner chain to Cardano preview, more experimental, more rapid deployment. Then midnight pre-prod would be pre-production, more stable, and that is where we will encourage the developer base to deploy onto. Now, at the end of the day, a lot of people deploy to Cardano preview, and a lot of people deploy Cardano pre-prod. So we're gonna have these three environments, but just know preview would be less stable, pre-prod would be the more stable testnet, and obviously when mainnet comes around, that's going to be mainnet. So just to give you some insight on that, on what to expect in the future. But we definitely want to get testnet validators to complete that survey, because it's going to help us reflect back on some of the feedback that you guys provide, so we can drive some improvements. And another thing you can expect is the validator section. There's going to be more of a one-pager there to complete the survey and what to expect, and some of the information that I'm saying here is going to be regurgitated on there. But the validator section will be taken down from the docs and replaced with the survey and some things in the roadmap, just because if the validators can't validate on preview, might as well not be having documentation for people to go to like a broken experience. So that's why we have to basically refactor the validator documentation on the documentation site. So you're going to see that change. You're going to see a call out for the survey. We're going to make these announcements also in Discord and such, in the Block Producers channel in Discord. So that's kind of update as far as the update as far as environment updates. And another update is the new Midnight Node version coming out. It's going to actually remove the wizards, and that's not intended for midnight testnet validators. So that would introduce a very breaking experience. So in a way, all of these changes are going to ensure that we don't add further disruption to the current testnet validator base. And what else? So yeah, those are kind of like the updates. I also want to encourage people to look at, obviously we have the Midnight Developer Academy, which has been announced, and I just took us through that. So definitely go through there. I'm going to personally go through it because I want to get that certification too, to show it off. And then I went through some of the environment updates, and my alarm's going off. I went through some of the environment updates, so definitely it mostly pertains to validators. So the TLDR of that is testnet O2 will be sunset. Validators will not be expected to migrate, and more news on that coming soon. And then you should also check out Claude, who is also DevRel. The foundation just published a YouTube video. It goes through advanced concepts of Compact, so definitely check that out. The QR code's on the screen right now. And we also have Jay's articles published now, goes through some of the implications of night and dust for developers. So I want to encourage everybody to check those things out. And
Yeah, I think sorry to cut you there. So I think one of the important thing about looking at the implication of night and dust for developers, there is we've been seeing like conversation around the dual token, if it's dual token or not, and also conversation around I think Steph, you published a blog a while ago just discussing about like dust. So I would also recommend anyone, if you haven't seen that, I think we posted that before now. So reading about like night and dust is very, very important, because as you are building application, you want to know what exactly is powering your application, what assets do you hold, and then what do you use to pay transaction fee. This is the core design, is an integral part of what Midnight does today and why Midnight exists today. So it is very important to understand it. So that way, when you are building your application, you know what is used for what and then how to design it. By the way, you're building a privacy application, you're building a private contract, and you want to ensure that some of these things you meet the requirements while you're implementing. You're not just writing code blindly, and at least you can zoom out a bit and talk about what you have built. And so check it out. Yeah, it's been posted on the YouTube chat and the QR code. Okay, so the QR code leads to implication of the night, but if you check our docs or the link posted, you see the DOS architecture. And then it's not a long read, it's just something that explains how Dust operates, what you need to know about Dust, midnight nights. We also have a video coming up that would explain, like an explainer video. Once it's ready, we'll publish it on our channel so you learn more about this. And these things are questions that we've seen come up often. So please do well to read and check out these links. Yeah.
yeah,
So,
and just to summarize I have it and just to summarize the Dust architecture blog that I have on the Midnight Docs site. If you go to the docs, I think it's the main blog article there. But night and dust, the best analogy to understand it is, I would say, kind of like solar panels, how those work. So you can imagine night is that solar panel. That's the asset, right? And a solar panel, like that physical thing, is kind of like an asset, however you want to characterize it. Now, like a solar panel, solar panels, they generate electricity, right? You have all the electrons and everything moving around, and that creates energy generation. And in Midnight's case, that electricity is dust. So you can imagine you have night, and then you have the energy generation process, and that generates dust. And then you can imagine a battery. So you have night, and it's generating dust, and that battery has capacity. And like batteries, all batteries tend to desaturate over time. They don't always hold the same charge as they used to. So as you generate dust, it desaturates over time. Also, in order to use that dust or electricity, that becomes the computational resource. You use that dust as usage. So I also have on Twitter a picture that I should actually put in this article regarding that. But that's kind of one of the things I love about Midnight, is it has a very novel and new approach to using a network. Traditionally, you cannibalize the like, if I send a Bitcoin, I spend a Bitcoin. If I deploy in Cardano, I spend Cardano, right? So Midnight has a very novel and new approach, which is pretty cool. So yeah, but anyways, I don't know if there's any questions. If they're not, we can close out. So I guess I'm checking the chat here. If there's any questions that come in, let us know. If not, then we will close on. All right, cool. Well, anyways, that wraps up our fireside session. And before we all return to the shadows, I have a few zero knowledge tasks for you, which means I'll know you did them, but I won't tell anyone how I found out. So those zero knowledge tasks are to, of course, follow Midnight. There's lots of announcements coming on. There's lots of amazing announcements, partnership announcements with Midnight Academy. There's a lot of content coming out everywhere, and great collaborations. And also, as Idris presented, which he worked very hard on, is enroll in that Midnight Academy. So head over to Midnight Academy. It's one of the best places to. It's one of the few places where I don't know is actually a valid answer. So that's a ZKP joke. So, but yeah. So and also as far as validators, you're gonna want to check the announcements in Discord very shortly after this video. I'll have some information on what to link you guys to the validator survey and regurgitate some of the environment roadmap ahead. But without further ado, I appreciate everyone's time being on this fireside. It happens every Wednesday. And until then, we'll see you later.